We are staring down the barrel of one of the most volatile off-seasons in Philadelphia Eagles history, and if the latest reports from ESPN are even half true, this roster is going to look completely unrecognizable by September. From blockbuster trades involving our biggest superstars to a total philosophical shift in the draft, Howie Roseman is preparing to detonate the status quo. But before we break down the madness, welcome to the family. If you bleed green and want the unfiltered truth about this team every single day, smash that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss a beat. Let's rip the band-aid off immediately. Finishing the 2025 season with an 11-6 record and another heartbreaking exit to the 49ers isn't just disappointing, it's a wake-up call. We are currently sitting with the third highest power ranking in the league, but we are also staring at a salary cap situation that is technically in the red, minus $1 million to be exact. Now, panic is for the uninformed. We know Howie Roseman is a wizard with the checkbook, and with the league cap likely skyrocketing past $300 million, we will have breathing room. But the money isn't the issue. The issue is the philosophy. Howie Roseman dropped a quote last week that should have every fan reading between the lines. He explicitly said we need to win now while simultaneously building for the future. That sounds nice on a bumper sticker, but in reality, it means painful goodbyes are coming. We had the most expensive offense in the NFL last season, and let's be real, were they elite? For stretches, they looked painfully average. That is a return on investment that Jeffrey Lurie is not going to tolerate again. This brings us to the first major domino, the offensive coordinator. The rumors are heating up, and one name is officially in the building for an interview. Brian Daboll. Yes, that Brian Daboll. The man who coached Jalen Hurts at Alabama, developed Josh Allen into an alien, and has deep ties to Nick Sirianni. He might be on the market after the shakeup in Buffalo, and on paper, this looks like a slam dunk. He knows the quarterback, he knows the system, and he's a proven play caller. But I have to play devil's advocate here, are we sure he's the innovator we need? His Giants' offenses were dead last in pre-snap motion. Do we want to go back to a static offense, or do we want to evolve? This leads me to a rhetorical question for you guys. Do you trust Brian Daboll to fix Jalen Hurts' regression, or is he just another, safe, hire because he's buddies with the head coach? Now, let's talk about the defense, because this is where the building for the future part gets scary. We have three massive names hitting free agency, Jaelan Phillips, Nakobe Dean, and Reed Blankenship. These aren't depth pieces, these are starters. Phillips transformed our pass rush into the #1 scoring defense in the league after we acquired him. But with Jalen Carter and Jordan Davis due for massive extensions soon, we literally cannot pay everyone. The harsh reality. We are likely saying goodbye to at least two of these three guys. Howie is going to let them walk to get compensatory picks and reset the financial clock. It's smart business, but it's going to hurt on Sundays. Speaking of money, we have to talk about Dallas Goedert. He just came off the best season of his career, 11 touchdowns, finally stayed healthy, looked dominant. But he's 31. He has one last chance to get a massive bag in free agency. ESPN thinks he might take a team-friendly deal to stay in Philly. I love Dallas, but I'm not buying that for a second. Why would he leave millions on the table when he knows this is his last contract? If he walks, we are suddenly desperate for a tight end. This brings up draft names like Oregon's Kenyon Sadiq, who would be incredible, but losing Goedert leaves a massive void in the middle of the field. And that brings us to the most controversial topic of the day. The question of the day that I need you to answer honestly in the comments. With the offense needing a reset and the cap getting tight, would you trade Dallas Goedert right now if it meant getting a second-round pick to use on a younger, cheaper playmaker? Type yes or no down below. Let's look at the draft, because holding the 23rd overall pick actually puts us in a decent spot. We have 8 picks total, including some nice capital from the Jets. ESPN is predicting we go heavy on the trenches, which is the Eagles' way. We need to find the heir apparent to Lane Johnson, and we need edge help badly if Phillips leaves. Keep an eye on Cassius Howell from Texas A&M or Akeem Masitter from Miami. I watched Masitter in the national championship last night, and despite the loss to Indiana, the kid has a motor that doesn't quit. He fits that relentless culture we try to build. But ESPN didn't stop there. They have a trade prediction that is going to melt Eagles Twitter. They are projecting that we trade Tanner McKee to the Miami Dolphins. Honestly, I'd drive him to the airport myself for a mid-round pick. This quarterback class is historically thin after Fernando Mendoza goes number 1 to the Raiders. If a team gets desperate, selling high on McKee is a no-brainer. However, that's not the trade that has me sweating. There is a very loud rumor circulating that the Buffalo Bills are targeting A.J. Brown. Yes, you heard me. The Bills are desperate for a true WR1 for Josh Allen, and let's be honest, A.J.'s happiness in Philly has been a roller coaster. We could save $7 million against the cap with a post-June 1st trade. The logic is that we build around Devonta Smith and use that capital to draft a young stud or sign a deep threat like Alec Pierce. I have to be real with you, trading A.J. Brown feels like surrender. He is a 3-time All-Pro. You don't just replace that production. But if Howie feels the locker room vibes are off, he has never been afraid to pull the trigger on a shocker. It would signal a complete shift in our offensive identity. So, here is where we stand. We are looking at a potential new offensive coordinator in Brian Daboll, a defensive exodus of key veterans, a potential trade of our backup QB, and the looming threat of losing our superstar wide receiver. It is going to be a chaotic few months. I want to know where your head is at. On a scale of 1 to 10, how confident are you in Howie Roseman to navigate this specific offseason without closing our Super Bowl window? I'm hovering around a 7, but these rumors are testing my faith. We are going to be tracking every single one of these moves as they happen, so make sure you are locked in right here. This is going to be a wild ride. Fly, Eagles, fly.